Kobe, wake up. Well, I gotta tell you, last night I was thinking about one of my favorite books. You know Nate the Great?
Yes.
How many of you have read about Nate? Some of you haven't had that in book club, right? Well, there is a book, and it's called Nate the Great and the Phony Clue. And you know, he's a detective, right? Zacharias, do you know why he's a good detective?
I haven't read the book.
Well, I'm going to tell you. He is a good detective because he looks very closely at the clues. Everybody get your magnifying glass out. When you're reading, you need to look very closely at the clues, just like Nate the Great did. And that's what I realized as I was thinking about that book, because that makes him important. And we can grow new ideas by looking very closely. We've talked about going back into our writing and writing to make it better, right?
Yes.
When you read, that's what the authors have done. They've gone back, just like they did in the Nate book, and when he solved the clue, he was the only one to solve the clue of the missing word, because he went back and looked at the evidence again. Don't we love books that teach us how to be better writers? Well, today, we're going to learn how when you write, you go back into your writing again. And I know sometimes we don't like to do that, right? I can hear the moans and groans. Everybody do it just together. Oh, I know. But, good, Austin. But that's how we get better. And remember how we've talked about writing to an audience and knowing what that person needs to know? Have they read the book? Have they not read the book? Are you trying to convince them? Right? So, if we know our audience and we know what they need, when we go back, we can change our writing to make it fit what they need. So, we introduced Pinky and Rex this week, and a lot of you have the books that you're reading, and we're learning about their characters. I want to read again. I want to go back into the book. We've already read this, but I want to go back into the book. Instead of doing Mercy Watson again, I thought we could look at the character and the ideas in this book. I'm going to reread part of a chapter, and I want you to listen, and we're going to see if we can find, Austin, some more details. Okay? So everybody clean your ears out. All right. Now, guys, this time when you hear it, I want you to listen, Kobe, for something new. I want you to be detectives. Get your detective gloves out. Are you ready? Your ears are cleaned out, so you're ready to listen like Nate the Great, the detective, and learn something new. All right. This is the chapter where it's called Hard Choices. Okay? And what has happened up to this point is he had given Amanda, his sister, all of his stuffed animals. Remember, the bully was making fun of him, and he'd woken up several times during the night and was wondering where he was because his pink stuffed animals weren't there. So that's where we are. The next day was Saturday. Pinky didn't want to get up. He had something very hard to do that morning. Maybe the hardest thing he would ever do in his whole life. After he heard Amanda go downstairs, he sneaked into her bedroom. Hi, Pretzel. Now, who's Pretzel?
It's the middle friend.
It's his favorite one, right?
Yeah.
He whispered, "Did you miss me?" He made Pretzel's head nod. Yes. "I'm supposed to play with Rex today," he told his friend with the curly tail. "But I have to tell her I can't play with her anymore." Remember, Rex is his friend, that's a girl, and the bullies had done what to him? Tell your partner why that he didn't want to play with Rex anymore. 1, 2, 3, go. 3, 3, 2, 1, stop. I heard a lot of you saying because she was a girl and the bully had said that boys weren't supposed to play with girls, right? So, he told his friend with the curly hair that he was supposed to play with Rex, curly tail, he was supposed to play with Rex today. But I have to tell her I can't play with her anymore. Why? Because she's a girl. Pretzel, don't you understand? He made Pretzel's head move from side to side. That's because you're a pig. If you were a boy like me, you'd know that you're not supposed to be friends with girls. I mean, it's okay when you're a little kid, but not when you're 7. Pretzel looked at Pinky with blank button eyes. Okay. You know, this part always makes me sad when I read it. Listen to this part. I'm supposed to play with Rex today, he told his friend with the curly tail, but I have to tell her I can't play with her anymore. Why? Because she's a girl, Pretzel, don't you understand? That made me feel sad. Because he wanted to play. He wanted to play with Rex, but that bully had made him think it wasn't right. Aaliyah?
It was an inside feeling.
You're right. It was an inside feeling. Is that what you were going to say, Kelsey? I'm glad you remember about those inside feelings because that helps us develop our characters. So what new ideas does that give us? Could we write about that?
Yes.
Could we write about it made him sad? And then when we write about a feeling, what do we have to do to back it up? Tell me, 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah. Tell you again.
But if I tell you something, I can't just tell it to you. I have to you a I do. And do we have words up there that help us?
Yes.
We do. We can give an example like because, but we need to tell why, right? So why did that make him feel sad? Does it always say those words in the book?
No.
Sometimes we have to understand what the character is feeling by the words and the picture, and we have to get our own idea. So, if I read more and I pay attention to all the details, just a second, Aaliyah, then I will learn more and more. I can also look at the pictures. Do y'all remember when we were talking about pictures and how sometimes they would give us clues that the words wouldn't? And I told you be sure and always look at the pictures. Who remembers that conversation that we had a few days ago? Okay. Aaliyah, what did you want to share real quick, baby?
Probably the author wants to know us something about the book.
Yes, he's writing this book and he's teaching us things. You're exactly right. All right. So look at this picture. What do you notice? Just don't say anything. Shh. Don't you dare say it. Shh. Don't you dare. Don't you dare say it. Shh. Don't you dare. Look at this picture. When I say 3, you're going to talk to your partner and you're going to tell each other what you noticed. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. McKinley, did you have your turn? All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. Who wants to share real quick? Julie, I heard you and Ben said the same thing. What'd y'all say?
We said all of the stuffed animals had pink on it.
They all have pink on them. What else did we notice, Jordan?
The bear looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Well, you know what? That's something new. I had not noticed it. I love that you noticed that. I noticed something about whatever this little dinosaur animal is. Who noticed something about that?
Oh!
Tell me.
It's
That's kind of embarrassing, isn't it? All of them have on clothes. So did I get some more ideas? How does that make us think that Pinky must feel about his stuffed animals?
sad.
Because they're gone. But why do you think he dressed them up like that?
Because he likes pink. Because his favorite color is pink.
They're pink, but why do you think he put clothes on them?
I know.
Why would he do that? Tell your partner, go.
Alive. So they can have pink on it.
dress up their stuffed animals.
I know. So that was.
3, 2, 1, stop. I heard so many good answers. Kelsey, I want you to share yours. Why would he dress them up?
Because he takes care of.
Yes. What I heard her say was he cares for them. Okay, put your hands down.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, listen, guys. You've done, riders, listen. You've done such a good job today of learning how you can go back in a book and read and learn more. But you need to do that in your writing because you're the author of your writing. Say, I'm the author. Y'all cool. Y'all are good authors. Because you know how I know that? Do you know how I know that? Yesterday, we read some of the letters that you wrote, and Miss Herron was so impressed. And we had some ideas, didn't we? So what I'm going to do today is we're going to take those ideas we talked about yesterday, and we're going to take what we talked about today, and you're going to take your writing, and you're going to go back and you're going to add more. You're going to use favorite parts or pictures or characters. You're going to use transition words. You're going to make sure, remember on the opinion sheet that we looked at, how you have to have a good lead and a good closing. If you need to get that out of your writing journal and look at it, do.
Yes.
So that's one option you can do today, is to go in and make it better. The other option is, yesterday we talked a little bit about when you are starting your story and you have ideas. Remember when we first started doing small moments and we told the story across our fingers often? Everybody say it. Across our fingers. And then we told it across the pages. And then we told our partners, right? Do you remember how we talked about we could write our ideas on the top of each part? We talked a little bit about paragraphs. Each part could be a paragraph. We're going to talk about that some more tomorrow. But for today, you may either take your story and add to it and make it better. Or I know some of you are reading the Pinky books and are reading Judy Moody. And some of you have the Mercy Pig books. And some of you are still writing about Tacky, my favorite. But you can choose a different character and start another one. Now the stapled pages are on the table. The one pages are in the slots. Okay? So you get the ones on the table because today, come on boys and join us. I'll fill you guys in just a second. Okay, so you're going to either take your paper or start a new one. And you are going to read it closely, just like we went back and read Pinky and Rex, to see if you can add more about the character, about the setting,